Welcome, guys. So today we are going to discuss about roles. What are roles? We are basically talking about Oracle database and what are the roles in Oracle database, how we handle them, how we create them. So let's start the video. Okay. So roles are a set of privileges assigned to a user. Like we combine a group of privileges, insert, update, delete, and that, and make a group of them, and then we call that group as a role. So it's a group of privileges together, and we call that as a role, and then we assign this role to different user. We can assign to one user, three user, a group of users, so that all the users have those same privileges. We can combine some privileges together and create a role, yes, and then assign the role to a group of users, so that there will be no need to assign the same permissions to different users. Okay, so that's fine. We can monitor and handle the group of users easily by roles. Like if there are sales group, if there are HR group, or if there are operations group, we can assign a set of privileges to one group. Like prepare group for operations group, and we added some permissions in operations group, and we assign the same privileges to all the peoples in the operation, so that there will be nothing like this user is having less permission and this is having uh, more permissions. So we can, this it's easy that we'll find out easily that the users have the same privileges, and this operations group and this sales group and this HR group have these permissions on a particular tables. Okay, so this is by creating roles, the managing users profile and permission will be very much easy. We know a particular set of users needs only read only access, okay, or write only access. So we can create a roles based on that and assign that to all the users belong to that category. So that's fine. If we want some users to only read, that may only read the access, read the database, so we'll create a, read only group, read only role. And if we want some users to uh, write the database as well, so we can create the write on write read write role there. So that's how we can manage the permissions easily by assigning the groups. If a new use also, if a new user gets added to the organization, like a new user is added to the sales group or operations group, so just we just need to assign the particular operations role to that new user, so that he will get the same permissions as we have in for the other users in the group. So you'd be thinking like, if you need to assign the same privileges to different groups, how you do it? Like if you want to assign insert, update, delete, create, drop, truncate, these are read write permissions both. Okay, so if you want to assign these to operations and sales, both these are different set of users. In sales we have many users, in operations we have many users. So all these users are called operations users, which are assigned to operations group. So we can create a role and then assign the same role to operations and sales, so that if we want the same permissions on the both of them, so we can assign this, create a role and assign them to both. Like here, there's a group of permissions. We created a role. We call it as TB read write role. You can name it anything. User's role can be anything. Like you name it, but you need to uh, remember that if there's a role created, or that's fine. If you can query the database to find out if there are any roles or what the permission are assigned to roles. But it's easy if you remember that what the role you are created, and how you assign the permissions to them. So we have combined these permissions, we created a role, and then assign the same role to operations and sales, so that they'll both be able to access the database and do these operations. So here are a few scripts to create the role. Like here we are creating just the db read only user. This is our role, db read only user. So we have created a role, grant these permissions, grant create session, connect on this table, so that they'll be able to select the data from this table. Okay, and we have assigned on this table to db road only user. Like we have created this role and we assigned this permission to newly created role, and then grant this newly created role to some user. Like this is the bunch of users. Like in operations group we have Rohan, Sumit, and Tom, Peter, Mark, any user. So we can assign this. There is just need to grant this role to the newly created user, or we can alter the users to grant. We can add this. Uh, we can grant the same role to users which are already in there. Okay, and we can assign two different roles to a same user. Like we have assigned this read only, we have created read only user, assigned that to Peter. Now here we are creating a read write user role, and we have assigned that to Peter. In read write role, db read write user role, we have granted insert update delete on sales to db read write user, and then granted that db read write user role to Peter. Okay, so we can assign different roles to a single user as well, so that he will be able to access the database more in detail, like in more with more permissions for all the roles. Okay, so also you can assign a role to another role. Like earlier we have created db read only user. Here we have created db read only user this role, and we have created db read write user role. So we can assign one role to another. Like here we have created role operations, and we have granted create table on history table to operations. Okay, and then we want operations, and then we want operations a role to be assigned to db read write user. So we can assign this one role to another role as well, so that db uh, read write user now has create table permission as well on this table. So that's how you can manage and assign the roles. So thanks, and now we are going to the lab. Okay, all right. Okay, so let's see what different permissions we have here. Let me open the commands. So there are the few tables which you need to know about when you are working over roles. TBA role privileges. This is the system view. Like there are already few views in the database. You can use those views to query the database. What are the permissions and what are the roles there are in the database already. Okay, so DB role privileges. This will show you the role assigned to a user at system level. Role privileges, roles which are granted to roles. Like we have assigned one role to another role, so that we can get that in this table. Role sys privileges, like system privileges assigned to users. There are two kind of privileges in Oracle: system and object privileges. So in this you will see the system privileges. Role tab privileges, like in this table privilege you'll see what on which table permissions are assigned to, on which tables a particular permission is assigned to a user. So let's move to the lab and see what are the roles. Okay, let's go to the lab. Okay, so let me connect to the database first. Okay, so I'm connected to the database. Now if I want to see what are the roles already in the database, I'll see by here. There, oh, you see, this is the output is not user friendly. So let me change the line size. Okay, and now I'm going to run the script again. Okay, see, so this is the user. We in this table we call the user as grantee, and this is the granted role. This is the permission admin privileges, like with admin option. By this option, you can assign this role to other users as well. So this is very much important property, admin with admin option. So this is the role, resource, and this is assigned to sys. And to sys, this imp full database, this is also provided. To sys, access session admin is also granted. Okay, so you see to sys all these roles are assigned. To DBA all these roles are assigned. Okay, so by this you can query like to a particular user which are the roles assigned. Okay, if I want to check this resource role is assigned to which users. Okay, so let me see if I can get it. You see, resource role is assigned to sys user, logs dby administrator user, ctx sys user, xdb user. So this role is assigned, this particular role is assigned to these four users. There is another script by which you can check if this role is assigned to another role or not. Okay, so let me query. So you see this, oh, this is not correct. Let me again implement the size of, okay, here, role privileges. Let me see what are the, if it has role granted role admin option. Okay, that's fine. So a role line size 150. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, we have set it. Now let me run the query again. It's very difficult in Oracle if you are using the command prompt to see the output correctly. So we need to use this setting line size. Okay, so you see for this role resource, this role is also assigned logs tby administrator. There's another role assigned to this role. Okay, so by this you can query the database as well to see if another roles are assigned to the particular role or not. So we have done this. Okay, so role privileges. This is another table to see if there are, I guess we have role privileges already. We have went through role privileges already. Okay, so now role sys privileges. What are the system privileges assigned to this role? Okay, so let's see. I'm setting it already so that there's no need to again that set that again. Uh, so we are checking what resource. You see, for a role, these are the privileges assigned. You can query the database to find out what are the permissions assigned to a role. What are the system privileges? You can query this view to see. To resource role, create sequence, create procedure, create cluster, create indexes, create operator, create type, create trigger, and create table. Privileges are assigned. These are system privileges, not a particular table privileges. We can query the database to role tab privs to see what are the permissions for a particular table are assigned. This is the next, and I'm going to, in this table there is another column as well, owner. Okay, so we'll be setting that too so that output will be correct. Okay, there are so many roles in the database, and there are so many permissions, so we can query to find out the single role, like we can see resource. Okay, where role is equal to resource. There is no particular table privileges assigned to this role because this is a system resource, and the permissions assigned to this role is system privileges. Okay, okay, so let's now create a new role and see what are the permissions we can give it to that. By this table you can also see what are the permissions assigned to a role. These are at the database level for a particular table permissions. Okay, so let's create this role. Let's see if we have sales table or not, but we do not have it. Okay, so we'll put some other table like or we can create that table. Create table sales id and name varchar 10. That's fine. Okay, oh, what I'm doing. Table sales. So table created. I have forgotten the parenthesis. Okay, so this table is created. So now I'm going to, this is the user. I haven't created the user as well. So let me create the user as well. Create user Peter identified by Peter 1 1 2 3. Yes, you will see this is the error. You will see this error after the Oracle 12c and so. To overcome this error, you need to execute this script so that the pluggable database will know that you are setting up a user and this is required. Okay, so session is altered. Now if you run this script, what I was creating the user. Okay, create user Peter identified by Peter 1 2 3. Okay, you see this is created. So first you need to alter the session with this Oracle script is equal to true. Then you'll be able to create a user. So now I'm going to create the role and assign that to, oh let me this role is created. Now the second line, db read only user. One moment. Okay, so we have created the role, we have created a user, we have created a table. So we are going to uh, grant connect create session to Peter. Okay, so that the user Peter will be able to make the connection to the database. Okay, so after this we are going to grant Peter the select permissions on our newly created role. So select, this is granted on sales. Okay, and then we are granting db read only user to Peter, this newly created role. We have created the role, we have granted select on the role, and now we are granting this role to the user. So this is complete. Now Peter will be able to access the sales table, but but he'll not be okay. So let me open a new command prompt. Oh, I'll not be able to because I'll be able to do it in this other way. not this. Where is the record? It should be in the downloads. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so here I'm going to see. Okay, so I'm in. Oh, I need to log in with the Peter. Okay, so connect Peter, Peter 123 connected. So let's see if Peter has the access to sales table. Select star from sales. Oh, Peter will not be able to access the sales table directly. He need to mention the username who created sales table. So I was in logged in as sys. We can check the permissions from the table as well, but who is the owner of the table. But I as I already know, so I'm just mentioning that. Select star from sys dot sales. There is nothing cause that we haven't inserted anything on the table. Okay, so now I'm going to grant insert permissions. I'm creating another user in another role so that you will be easily understand how we assign a single role to another user. I'm creating a role db read user. Okay. Okay, so this role is already created. So I'll be uh, up operations. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so I'm going to create this role operations. Operations role is created. Now I'm going to assign the permissions on to this operations role for sales table. Okay, so operations role, this is also assigned. Now I'm assigning this operations role to the our user Peter. Okay, so this is completed. Okay, so as there is nothing in the our sales table, so I'm going to insert one row from here and one from our newly created user, because our newly user created user now has two roles. One is db read only role, and one is operations role, and operation role has insert update delete on the table sales. Okay, so let's first add a row from here. Insert into sales values one row. It's done. Okay, let's query the star from sales. This is fine. This is the sys user. I am corrected from sys user so that he'll be able to query the table directly as he is the owner. I'm going to our user Peter. Now let's see if he'll able to access this newly added row. Select star from sys dot sales. You see, select star from, oh, I haven't committed, not here. Okay, let's see, star from sys dot sales. You see, he'll be able to see the row as he has the select permission on it. Now let's see if he has the uh, right permissions which are assigned to operations role, and operations, we have assigned the operations role to Peter. Now let's see if he is able to access insert rows in it. Insert into sys dot sales. to id, and name will be Mark. Oh, values. So this is sys.sales. Okay, I'm going to commit it. Okay, so now if I run this script here, select star from sales to see, you'll be able to see the row. Okay, so this is how you grant permissions to one role, and you also can assign two roles to a single user, and you can assign uh, one role to another role as well, and you can test them like this, and that's how you will be able to work on rows and manage the permissions for the database users easily. Okay, so here I'm going to end this lecture. Remember this script, you need to put this script put the session as true, uh, and set the oracle script as true, so that you will be able to add that user. If you want, I can put this permission in put this in the row or on my video. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I'll be talking to you in my next video. Thanks.